Hello and welcome to Africana Institute of Technology. My name is Francois, and I will be your virtual cyber mentor. This is a hands-on labs for cyber pros or cyber professionals. And the reason why I created these labs, guys, there is no slides really. This is just me introduce this whole thing to you, then we're gonna dive right in. So the reason why I created these labs is because when I got started a little bit of over 10 years ago, these are the labs that I wish I had, 10 years ago. But another reason, and this is the most important of them all, is that I've seen a lot of people online who have certifications. Maybe they've passed their Security Plus, their CEH, all these certs, but they don't have the practical skills. They don't have the hands-on labs that basically goes with those certifications. But also I've seen some people who are doing, try hack me, hack the box, and range force and all these other things. And they're playing these CTFs, but still the information is not sticking with them. So what I said, you know what? Let's create some kind of like a hands-on lab series where it's like you're sitting in the room with me. I'm walking you into the whole process. It's like that apprenticeship experience where you're not only copying commands and pasting those commands in a terminal and then pressing enter. No, no, you are getting the explanation of, okay, why do we use this command? In cybersecurity, why would you use, nmap? Why would you type in this? Why would you do that kind of stuff? So that's kind of the problem I'm trying to solve. So if you're studying for Security Plus, Net Plus, CEH, any one of these cybersecurity certifications, you will find that these labs are really helpful. And the other thing is, it doesn't matter where you are in your cybersecurity journey, right? Because what I did, I designed all these labs to kind of be great for those who are just getting started, but also those who are in cyber already, right? So you will find a lab in this series. You will find a lab that suits your needs. With that out of the way, let's get right into it. So this is lab zero. This is me setting up everything. And this is going to be the ultimate. That's kind of the name here. The ultimate cybersecurity home lab. The reason why I call this the ultimate cybersecurity home lab is because it's basically three in one. So what we're going to do, we will set up a basic lab. This is just Kali Linux with the Metasploitable. Kali is it's the distribution, Linux distribution that is used for things like penetration testing. And a Metasploitable, it's a vulnerable machine. So we're going to use Kali to scan Metasploitable, to attack it, to abuse it, you name it, all that kind of stuff. And then we'll do all of this on top of VMware Workstation. Here's a great news. VMware got bought by another company, and that new boss literally made a workstation free. It used to cost a little bit of $200, I believe, or less than $200. But now it's free. I'll show you how to download it and install it. We will start the whole thing from scratch. So we will download the workstation. We are going to configure the VMware workstation, excuse me, and then it would add Kali and a Metasploitable on top of that. So that's like one. Second, for my blue teamers, people out there be like, you know what? I want to be the blue teamer. Maybe I want to get into GRC. Those people are going to enjoy this right here. All right. They're going to enjoy the SOC lab setup. What we're going to do here is install an Ubuntu server, and then we're going to add Wazuhs, right? We're going to add Wazuhs on top of this Ubuntu server. You're like, okay, well, what the heck is Wazuh? Well, Wazuh is like an endpoint uh kind of endpoint protection platform. In other words, it's used to kind of protect your endpoints, but it's more than that. So you can use this not only to provide endpoint security. When I say endpoint, I'm talking about your computer. Basically, it gets installed in your computer. But not only it can do that, you can also do things like threat intelligence, threat hunting, instant response, even a regulatory compliance. Those people who are doing GRC. It's basically the platform that have everything integrated. And here's the beauty. It's free. Oh yeah, it's free. It's using a lot of open source tools. They bundle all of them together into this tool known as Wazuh. So we will add Wazuh on top of Ubuntu server, and then we will install Ubuntu client so that we can have the server manager, the Wazuh manager, to communicate with this client. So we're going to configure everything, add the client into the Ubuntu, make sure everything is communicating, and make sure this lab is good to go. Last but not least, as part of this, we will configure a malware analysis lab. This is like, oh, wait a minute, what are you talking about? What I'm talking about is we want those people who are super advanced, those people who want to reverse engineer some malwares, those people who want to analyze malware. We want to make sure we, do something for these people as well. So here, we will install a virtual machine that's known as a Flare VM. Flare VM is from Mandiant. Google recently bought Mandiant. So I love Mandiant. They're really good. If you've watched any of my stuff, I'm always talking about these guys. Anyway, so let's see. This is we're gonna it's gonna be installed on top of Windows 10. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna download the Windows 10. Once we're still configuring Windows 10 the way we want it, we will add Flare on top of that. Flare, it's just a bunch of a PowerShell scripts that literally goes in and make this Windows 10 a malware analysis kind of a VM, right? So it's gonna be really good. Now, the thing of this particular one, because it's used for malware analysis, and we're gonna play around with tools like CyberChef in a later labs. What we're gonna do is sandbox this, meaning isolate this particular VM so that it doesn't talk to anybody else. So after we finish installing everything, we will isolate this so that it doesn't talk to anybody else. So as you can imagine, it's the ultimate. It's 3 labs in one. And the reason why I did this is because cybersecurity is huge, and some of you are doing all kind of things, right? And I want to make sure you have the ultimate home lab that you can use for all your cybersecurity needs. Okay, you're like, okay, wait a minute first. So this sounds pretty cool. What kind of system that's going to be able to do these kind of things? Well, here's my system requirements. You want to make sure you have a 16 gigabytes of RAM. If you have 32, that's great. If you only have 16, you should get away, with this pretty okay. CPU have to be like 2 gigahertz or better, and your hard disk, your SSD, your solid state drive has to be 500 or more. Right? So let me show you what I have here. By the way, the computer that I am using right now, it used to be 16 gigabytes. So I recently just kind of updated my RAM. So go to your start menu, right? Open up your Windows logo here and then right click on it and then go to system. Okay, go to system. And here you will check a few things. One, make sure you have the RAM that we're looking for. Like I said, this computer I'm sitting on used to be 16 and now it's a 64 because I recently just updated my RAM. And then you want to make sure it's a 64-bit operating system. And if you have like a Windows Pro version, it doesn't matter if it's Windows 10 or Windows 11, that should work as well. One last thing for us that we need to check is this. Let me clear the screen here. Is to check to make sure if your virtualization is enabled. And the way we do that is go back to your start menu, right? Go back to your Windows logo, click on that, and then open your task manager. You can also search that, but open your task manager. And then once you're here, I want you to click on performance, right? So you can see your CPU utilization. And then down here, you will see where it says virtualization. There, make sure it says enabled. All right, make sure your virtualization is enabled. Now, if it's not, what you need to do is shut down your computer, then press F2, F11, F12, F10, F1. It really depends on the kind of computer you're sitting on. So, but you press those keys as soon as your computer is booting up, and then it will take you to what we normally call a UEFI or BIOS, UEFI, or your basic input and output system, BIOS. And it's going to boot into one of these. More likely it's going to be this guy right here because this is the newest. So it's going to boot into one of these, and then you are going to be able to enable this. You're going to be able to enable virtualization in there as well. Now, you can look at that up or you can join one of the community that I have so that I can, help you, or the people in the community can help you as well. With that out of the way, it sounds exciting. That's because it is. Let's dive right in. Okay, first thing first. So what we're going to do is download the hypervisor, in this case, VMware Workstation Pro, so that we can use that as our kind of a platform or virtualization environment that we're going to be putting everything on top of. Right? That's going to allow us to hypervise, allow us to virtualize. That's the word I'm looking for, to virtualize our home lab. Anyway, so VMware got bought by Broadcom, and Broadcom made a workstation free for personal use. And it was really hard to find the download link, but I came across this article, which is really good and kind of a redirect you to where you want to go. So I'll put the link to this in a description, but I also put the link, I will put the link to where you can just download it directly. So once you're here, depends on what you're using. If you're using your Mac, go ahead and grab Fusion. But if you're using Windows, which I am, we're going to grab the Workstation Pro. So click on here. And if you don't have an account, Broadcom is going to direct you to a page where you need to set up your account, right? But I've already registered the account, so it's redirecting me to the download page. So once you're there, you see where it says Workstation Pro. Again, if you don't have an account, set up that account first. Then there are some things you have to agree. I find it really tedious with these guys. Hopefully, they're going to improve their processes. Anyway, so VMware Workstation Pro 17 for personal use. Click on that, and then let's grab the latest, the 17 version. So I'm going to click on that, and it's thinking. Then once we're here looking good, I'm going to click on downloads. And then normally it will ask you to agree to the terms. Right? When you try to download from the first time, there's like a little thing here that says, hey, you got to agree to the terms first. So you do that first. All right. So I'm going to put this in a downloads folder. I'm going to save that there. And when this is done, we're going to go into the process of installing, VMware Workstation Pro. And it should be done. Oh, it's almost done. All right, give it a minute. And there we go. It's done. All right, so I'm going to double click on this, or you can go into your download folder and double click it from there. Double click on that. And we'll get into the process of installing Workstation Pro. There we go. Here we are. There's a pop-up that says, hey, you sure you want to download this? I'm going to click on yes. There we go. And let the party begin. It's getting into the whole downloading process. So let's do exactly just that. There we go. Perfect. All right. Now, this is the setup. We're going to click on next. And I say, hey, you sure you want to do that? Go ahead and agree to the terms. I say, yep, next. And they're going to kind of ask if you want to add this enhanced keyboard driver. We don't want to do that. We will click next. And then do we want this to be updated automatically? Say yes, click next. Do we want the shortcuts to be added to the desktop? We're going to say yes, click next, and then click on install. So basically all you're doing is yes, 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 and then you click on install, right? Really straightforward stuff. So give it a minute for this whole thing to finish installing, and then we're going to move forward with the rest of the lab. All right, here we are, and it's asking us to finish. So we don't need to enter a license or anything like that. So just click on finish. And this is done. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up, and I'll just search for VMware. There we go, Workstation. I'm going to click on that. And if you open it for the first time, it's going to ask you, oh, hold on a minute. You sure you're not using this? This is not for commercial use? You're going to say, no, it's not. So it's for personal use, therefore it's free. Yeah, pretty good stuff. So I'm going to click on continue, then click on finish, and voila. This, my friends, this is a VMware Workstation. So we have it here. Now, let's do a few things here before we kind of move forward. Let's configure this bad boy. So I'm going to click on File, then go to, actually, let me click on Edit. I'm going to click on Edit, and then go to Virtual Network Editor. So let's kind of change the network here a bit, or let's talk about this for a minute. By default, first of all, you have about two networks configured. It's technically three. So if I were to click on configure here, you will see it's three because there's the bridged network. Let me put the highlight here. There's this bridged network, which basically means I'm bridging my virtual machine to my physical machine. And in another word, I'm allowing my virtual machine to talk to my physical machine, right? This could be pretty good if you want to test your physical appliances. You have a TV, you have things connected to your physical home network. You bridge it here. If you add Kali Linux, if you bridge Kali, for example, you can basically scan your physical computers and things like that. But we also have a host only. Host only is that virtualized environment where anything that's there is just stay there. Right? It doesn't talk to anybody else. And then you have your NAT, your network address translation. So what we're going to do here is change some IP addresses specifically for the NAT. So I'm going to click on the NAT, and then there you can see that they have the IP addresses here. So I'm going to change that. Let me verify a few things. Yeah, I like the way it's configured. So let's put this NAT to the 10 network. So 10.0.0.0. And let's keep the subnet mask to the, /24, which is the 255.255.255.0. So that's looking good. I'm going to click on apply that. All right, it's going in, it's applying that. Right. One other thing that we can do now that we're here, we can look at the DHCP server, right? If you remember, DHCP is it's used to assign assign IP addresses to your computers automatically. So in our case, this is turned on, but let's go ahead and say the starting for this DHCP server is going to be to the end of .10. So basically, all we're saying, we said, hey, look, you can start assigning computers IP addresses to computers are starting with the 10. So basically the next computer is gonna be .11, then .12, on and on and on and on. Again, if you don't know your networking, I highly, highly recommend you take something like Network Plus, which I'll probably be recording some lessons for that as well. All right, so for the host only, let's go ahead and put that on a 172 network. So I'm going to say 172.16.0.0.0. And we're going to leave the subnet mask to the 255 and apply that. And it looks like we're pretty good. So that's all we need to do here right now. I'm going to click OK. And we've configured this the way we want it. That's pretty much it for now. All right, I'm going to go ahead and minimize this. Now let's get into the downloading the things that we want. All right, first thing we need to download is Kali Linux, right? And then a Metasploitable. So we're going to go ahead and go to kali.org. Once you're here, click on downloads. And here you'll see where it says virtual machines. Let's grab this because we want pre-configured VMs. I'm going to click on that. And right here, they have a few things for us. They have a VMware, VirtualBox, Hyper-V, you name it. So we need the VMware. I'm going to click on downloads. And lucky for you, I've already done this. And so what you need to do, you need to create a folder where you're going to organize all these things to. So what I did, I went to the C drive, and then I create a folder known as a SecLab, and then I add another one known as ISO, and then I add everything here. So if I were to go here right quickly right now, let me bring this up here for you. If I were to go in there right now, you can see I have all of these. I have Windows 7, XP, Kali, everything that even extra, even the things that I don't need for this lab, it's here, right? So, but just organize this a little bit better. So I've already downloaded that. It's there. I'm gonna cancel that. Another thing that we need to download after downloading Kali is Metasploitable. Metasploitable specifically two, because there is three out there. So I'm gonna put the link to this in the description. So just click on that link, and it's gonna try to download this automatically for you. So if I go back here, I've already downloaded this, but it's going to try to download this automatically for you. But if it doesn't, just click on the download, and then it's going to start downloading it for you again. Last thing that we need to download here quickly is the 7-zip. 7-zip, we need it because we're going to have to unzip some of these files. So go to 7zip.org or 7-zip.org, and then click on downloads. once you're here, click on a 64-bit or download the 64-bit version because that's the version of the operating system that I'm running. If you're on the Mac, go ahead and grab something like Keka. There's a few of those out there if you're using a Mac for this as well. So I'm gonna put this in a download section here somewhere. And it's a really lightweight file. So I'm gonna double click on it. It's gonna ask me, hey, you sure you wanna do that? I'm gonna say yes, click on install, and this is done. It's as simple as that, right? That's 7-zip. I'm gonna close that. Now we have those two downloaded. Let's go where we've saved this. So I'm gonna open my File Explorer and oh, let me bring this here so you can see it. So File Explorer, I will go to this PC. I'm gonna click on the C drive, and here I'm gonna go to Sec Lab. I'm gonna open the ISO. Then we're just gonna be working with these two files right now. First thing first, let's go ahead and extract this. So I'm gonna right click on Metasploitable and then go to Show More. Again, you can extract this with Extract All. You can use WinRAR if you're on a Windows 11. I don't think it works on a Windows 10, which is why I had you download 7-zip. But if you click on Show More and then go to 7-zip, you should see 7-zip there. Point to that and then extract here. Click on Extract here. Right, click on that. It's going to just take a few seconds. And it's going to go in and then extract this Metasploitable too. The next thing we need to extract is the Kali. So I'm going to right click on that. Again, show more options, 7-zip, and then extract here. Right. Click on that. It's going to take another few seconds to get this extracted. Then when that's done, we are going to add these two VMs on top of VMware Workstation. All right, and it looks like it's finished. So now we have Kali, and then we have a Metasploitable. So what I'm going to do is rename this right quickly. So I'm going to right click on them and then click on, I can show more. Oh, you know what? I can just double click on this. Not really double click, like click on it until you can be able to rename it. I'm going to call this Kali Linux, right? And then I'm going to call this Meta. Let's keep it short. It's called Meta, just like what Facebook did, right? So now that we have Kali and Meta, I'm going to start with Kali. So double click on Kali. And then we have all these files. The one that we care about is the second one from the top, all right? The one that looks a little bit different. Right? The icon looks a little bit different. So we're going to double click on this, but we could also go to VMware Workstation and then bring it in there that way. But let's just go ahead and double click here. And it's going to open in Workstation, right? And right here, there's a few things that we need to kind of change. First of all, let's make sure we have the name. So let's go ahead and double click on this, or not double click. If you double click on it, it's gonna start the VM. So right click on it and then go to rename. No, not remove. What am I doing? Click on rename, and then call this Kali Linux. Right. And another thing that I want us to do, I forgot to do that earlier. So click on my PC and create a new folder here. I'm gonna create a new folder here. I'm gonna call this Sec Lab. As you can see, I like to organize things. And then I'm gonna grab a Kali. I'm gonna just drop that in the Sec Lab so that I have that here and just kind of keep it clean just in case you do additional stuff in the future. Anyway, so click back on Kali. Don't double click on it, just click on it. I'm gonna show you a few things. The first thing you can see that once we have everything rolling, we have username and passwords are here. So Kali is going to be the username, is going to be the password. There's some other useful links here as well. But let me clear the screen. One thing that I want us to do here is to change the hardware settings. So I'm going to click on Edit Virtual Machine Settings, right? And then because I have 64 gig, I'm going to push this to 8 gig. Again, you don't have to do this. You can leave that. You can leave that on 2 gig, or you can put that on 4 gig. That works as well. You can just select that as well. So 4 gig of RAM, right? I'm gonna go to processor. I'm gonna leave that to kind of a full processors, but you can put that on 1, right? And that works as well, but I'm gonna leave that on 2. It depends on how fast your computer is. For the hard disk, I'm going to just leave that on 80. And for the network adapter, here it's connected to the NAT. You can click on advanced and no. You can here it's connected on the NAT, right? NAT network. And that's where we want this to be, right? That's exactly where we wanted that to be. And they got the USB, which you can change it to whatever that you use there. We got the display, the sound card, and the display there as well. So only thing you change here is the memory and the processor, and then click on OK. And we can see that it's looking the way we want it. So now it's time to turn this sucker on. So you can double click on it or click on this play looking icon to turn on this Kali. And usually there's like a little pop-up that says, hey, did you move this or did you copy this? Always click on I moved this, right? That didn't come up right now, but maybe on some of the other VMs later, it's gonna come up, right? Here goes his Kali is going in, is basically booting up because it's already installed. That's the beauty of downloading this as a VM. It's not gonna go in and try to kind of download everything from like get you into the whole process of installing Kali. No, it's already pre-installed. We're just basically adding on top of this. There we go. Look at this. It's done. When I click on Kali, I'm gonna type in Kali for the username and then Kali for the password. And voila, right? It's here, right? So we can, and we will be coming back here as well, but I can bring up the terminal quickly here and I can ping Google to see if Google is up, and I can see Google is up, right? And that's telling me I have an IP, I mean, I have an internet connection. And if I do ifconfig quickly here, you can see, there we go. My ETH0, my INET is 10.0.0.10, right? Specifically where we say the DHCP, you should start assigning IP addresses from 10 and going up. So this Kali, it's that 10. Pretty good. So I'm going to close this, and then I'm going to minimize this, and I'll go back to my ISO folder. Now let's go ahead and bring in the meta. I'm going to go back here. I'm going to double click on meta, and then click on this icon that, again, that it looks like a three little windows there. So double click on that, and it's going to open in Workstation as well. I'm going to grab that and drag that into the SecLab folder. And then I'm going to rename this to meta. There we go. And we can also change the hardware settings as well, and we will, because this thing has like a memory is in megabytes. It's not even a gig, and the processor is one. So we're gonna kind of change that a little bit. But I want to show you the password. The password is MSF admin and MSF admin for the username as well. So MSF admin is for the password. MSF admin is for the username as well. So go ahead and clear the screen. And then I click on Edit Virtual Machine Settings. Here we are going to change the memory. So I'm gonna push that to just 2 gig. Push that just to 2 gig. Processor, I'm gonna leave that where it is. You know, maybe let me put that on 2. Yeah, well, I'll leave that back to 1, right? This, it's not gonna be used for much really, other than being scanned, right? Being scanned and being attacked. So just leave that on default, or leave that on, just change the memory to 2 gigabytes if you have enough. I'm gonna click OK. We're pretty good there. I'm gonna go ahead and turn this bad boy on. So I'm gonna double click on it to turn this meta machine on. All right, or just click on play there. All right, here they're asking me, hey, did you move this or did you copy this? This is what I was talking about earlier. So here you just click on I moved it. The reason why you do that is because you don't want them to think your MAC address that's being used it's identical to your physical hardware, to your laptop or desktop that you're using for this kind of stuff. So you say I moved it so that they can kind of reset everything, right? Not just start copying things from your physical machine. All right, give it a minute for Meta to show up, to boot up. And it should be done in a minute. Meta is not big. I keep calling this Meta, but you got the idea. Metasploitable. And here we are. So another thing that I want to show you when every time you're trying to log in into Meta, it's gonna Metasploitable. It's gonna tell you the username as well. It's gonna say, hey, log in with MSF admin, MSF admin, right? That's the username, that's the password. Okay. Is there. So if you ever forget these, they're always there. You can also start writing these down, right? Create like a little note taking thing where you're writing all this stuff down. Okay, now we're here. We're gonna sign in. We're gonna say MSF admin. If I can type. All right, there we go. MSF admin. MSF admin, and we're in. You're like, well, hold on a minute. How do you know you're in? Because of that $sign right there. The other thing we can say ifconfig. Try to check the IP address for this guy. And here you can see the IP address is 10.0.0.11. Again, like I said earlier, the DHCP server is sending these IP addresses to these computers right now. Okay, so what can we do? Well, we can ping Kali. Ping. Let's go ahead here and just ping Kali. You can say, hey, ping, oops, 10.0.0.10, right? See if they're talking to each other. And voila. Sure enough, they're talking. Control C to stop the ping. I didn't tell you that earlier when we were doing it in Kali, but you basically just press Control C on your keyboard to stop the ping as well. Right? You're like, whoa, what if I want to just ping 4 times? Well, then you can do a lot like this. Let's say you want to ping that Meta computer. You can just say ping 10.0.0.11. And I forgot to put the options. Here we can just say, hey, ping. I want you to count -C 4 times and then start pinging, right? So that way you don't have to do Control C. If you do that, it's gonna ping just 4 times and then stop. If you ever done ping on Windows, this is exactly what Windows does. And you're like, okay, hold on a minute, Franz. How do I know this is successful? Well, look, 4 packets were sent because I say, hey, just send 4 things. 4 packets were sent, 4 were received, 0 packets were lost. That's how you know these 2 computers, they're talking to each other. Fantastic. So one last thing that I want us to do for this. Now, this is the basic lab setup. This is pretty much done. One last thing that I want us to do here is to update and upgrade your Kali. Go ahead and check for those updates. So sudo apt update. All right, try to see, okay, what are some of the updates that they're out there? And this thing is coming back saying, hey, there's over 600 packages that can be upgraded. You're like, oh, sweet. So let's go ahead and just upgrade those. So type in sudo apt upgrade. Right? And then we'll say -y. And the reason why we say -y is because it can say yes to all the pop-ups, all the things that say, you sure you want to do this? We want the Kali to go and just say yes to all of those as well. So I'm going to hit enter, and it's going in, it's just upgrading everything. So this might take a minute, depends on how fast your connection is. So give it a minute, and we should be good to go. So as soon as this is finished, as soon as finished upgrading, go ahead and shut down everything because we are going to be done with the first setup. And after waiting for a minute, here we are. It's completely done. It's done, it's updated, and we are good to go. So we'll go ahead and close this, and then we'll get started with the second part of this lab setup, where we're going to set up the SOC lab. We're going to install Kali, not Kali. We're going to install Ubuntu and Ubuntu Server, and then add Wazuh on top of that. So let's get right into it. Okay, so first thing we need is to download the tools that we need, download everything that we need. So I'm going to go back to Ubuntu Server. No, just go to Ubuntu downloads. Go to the download page of Ubuntu. And then once you're here, click on the desktop. Then desktop, you can download anything. So anything I'm trying to tell you the latest. So just look for the LTE, the long-term standard. I think that's what that stands for. I can't remember. Anyway, so long-term support. There we go. And click on the download. icon there, and then the download should start downloading automatically, right, for the Ubuntu desktop. And then go ahead and save that to the same location where we're saving everything to. Now, again, I've already downloaded that. That's that right there. So I'm not going to download this again. And then cancel that. Then once you finish downloading that, go ahead and download the server. Now, with the server, I want you to be a little bit careful here. You don't want to download the 2024 version. Nope, 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 nope. Wazuh, it has some issues with that. So scroll down a little bit until you can see the previous releases. And then you should see the 2022 and the 2020 LTE versions, LTS versions. So go ahead and grab the 2022, right? Click on that. And it should download the Ubuntu Server 2022 version as well. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in the ISO location where we're putting everything to. Again, I already done that, so I don't have to do that again. I'm going to click on cancel. Now, if I were to open up the ISO location, go back here, we should have everything we need, just like what we had before. So we have Ubuntu Server right there. Then we have Ubuntu Desktop. So with these two right here, and these are ISO, which means we're going to install all this from scratch, right? These are ISO files, which is good. So you get to see that being done in Workstation Pro as well. Okay, but I'm going to minimize that, bring back Workstation, and I'm going to shut down the other machines. Another thing that you can do before you shut them down, maybe you can take a snapshot of this. So you can right click on this and then go where it says snapshot and then take a snapshot. Right, that's just in case if anything goes wrong, you can always go back to that particular snapshot. Right, I'm gonna go ahead and close that. I'm gonna click on a little X there, and then I'm gonna power it off. I'm gonna do the same thing for the Meta. Shut both of these down, power off, and here we're going to install the Ubuntu and Ubuntu server. So let's just start with the regular Ubuntu. So I'm going to click on home right here, and then click on create a new virtual machine. Click on that. And it's going to kind of bring up this little wizard of, installing this or getting into the process of doing this. So make sure the typical recommended is selected. Click next. And once you're here, we're going to install this from the ISO. Like I said, ISO file. So I'm going to click on the browse, and I'm going to kind of locate that location where I have everything stored. And I'm going to grab the Ubuntu desktop, click on open, and that's pretty much it. Click on next. It's going to ask me for the names and passwords for this Linux. So for this one, because it's a Linux, it's a Ubuntu, the name I'm going to say Ubuntu client for the full name. And then for the username, I'll call this Ubuntu. And then the password, I'm going to just make something up. All right, keep it simple. Click next. And right here, they said, oh, the virtual machine name is going to be Ubuntu 64-bit. I'm going to just delete the 64-bit and just keep it Ubuntu there. And click next. And they're saying, okay, what's the disk here? I'm going to just put that on 100. Right? Because, again, I have enough. So put on 100. I'm going to click next. Then here, they're asking us to review everything that we just configured. And we got to do a few more configurations here. Click on the customize hardware here. Click on the customize hardware. Let's customize a few things. First of all, the memory, they put that on 4 gig. I'm going to put that on 8 so that I can do this a little bit quicker. And then for the processor, I'm going to put that on 4 cores as well. And for the network, let's keep that on the NAT, so that our Ubuntu can be able to communicate with Meta and Kali as well. So I'm going to keep all that on the same network. And that looking good. I'm going to click on close. And you can verify everything we just configured right there. And I click on finish. Now it's going to automatically start. Click OK for that little pop-up. It's gonna automatically start, but this time around, we're gonna installing everything from scratch. So let's do it. All right, here we are. After waiting for a little bit, it's asking us to choose the language. We're gonna say it's English, of course. I'm gonna click next. It's gonna kind of show us this accessibility. Just click next, and then keep clicking next. English is selected for the keyboard. Is a wired connection? Yes, it is. Click next. All right, you want to do some updates? No, we do not. So just click next. You want to install Ubuntu? Yes, absolutely. And I'll make sure that's selected. Click next. And then you want to do the interactive installation. You say, yes, we're going to do that. I want to make sure you choose the default selections. Yes, absolutely. And right here, it's asking us install recommended proprietary software. We don't want to do any of that right now. Let's just go ahead and click next. And it's asking us, hey, do you want to kind of delete everything and then install everything? And we're going to say, yep, it's exactly what I want to do. It's asking us to create an account. So we're going to go ahead and create an account, give this Ubuntu client. And the name is going to be Ubuntu. And for your name, it's Ubuntu client. I'm sure it's lowercase. All right, there we go. And let's just give it a password, simple password. Let's make sure you require my password to log in. It's selected, click next. It's gonna look at the time zone here. I'm gonna just click next. It's looking good there, and we're good. Right? They've already selected the hard drive, SDA, and everything is looking good. So click on install, and this might take a little bit. So it's gonna go ahead and then install this Ubuntu 2024 version, this desktop version for us. So this is gonna be our client machine. So give it a minute for everything to install, and once it's done, we're gonna check a few things, and then we're gonna install the Ubuntu server. Then after that, we will add Wazuh on top of it and keep going. Okay, after waiting for a little bit, here we are. And let's go ahead and restart now so that I can finalize this installation process. So let's give it a minute for the installation to finish. There we go. Okay, and here we are. So there is the Ubuntu client. That's the username that we've selected. So I'm going to click on that, and it's going to ask me to log in. So I'm going to go ahead and log in with this password that I created. All right, and we should be up and running here in a minute. And here we are. Fantastic. All right, it's looking good, looking good. Okay, let's do a few things here. Let me go ahead and just close this. There we go. All right, so here, let's click on this Ubuntu logo and bring up the terminal. And there's the terminal. Right-click on the terminal, and you can pin it out to the dash so that it's always there. There we go. And here's the terminal. I'm gonna go ahead and close this, clear it, and this is it. This is our Ubuntu. So first thing, let's go ahead and ifconfig. And there we are. It's saying, hey, hold on a minute. ifconfig is not installed. All right, we're going to fix all this in a minute, but we can also type in IPA. That's because IP is replacing ifconfig. So if we say IPA and hit enter, it's going to come back. It's going to say, hey, this is your interface and the INET, and this is your IP addresses right here. So 10.0.0.12, right, with the /24 for the subnet mask. So I can install that by typing in that right there. I can install the ifconfig. So I can just say sudo apt install nettools, right? I hit enter. It's going in and just basically installing ifconfig and a few other networking tools. So if I do ifconfig now, it should work, and it did. And there's the INET for the ENS33, the interface. Here's the subnet mask for the /24. Again, 255.255.255 is equivalent to /24. And there's the loop back here as well. Okay, so that's looking good. Let's ping Google. I'm just typing ping Google. Let's go ahead and put a count of 4. And this time let's ping by name. Let's just say google.com. And Google is coming. It's coming. 4 packets were sent, 4 were received, 0 packets were lost. So it looks like we're good, right? It's connecting to the internet. It's pretty good to go. Let's go ahead and install Ubuntu. Before we do that, let's go ahead and update this machine. All right, let's go ahead and update and upgrade this machine. So I'm going to go ahead and clear the screen. I'm going to say sudo. And sudo is a way of becoming root, so a way of becoming the administrator. So I'm going to say sudo apt update, like before. It's going in, it's reading the update. There's all 78 packages. I'm going to say sudo apt upgrade, and I'll put /i. So Ubuntu and Kali, they're all in the same family of Linux. They all use Debian. So that's why we're able basically to do the same commands. Same commands that will work in Kali will work in Ubuntu as well. Okay, so give it a minute for this whole updating process to take place, upgrading process to take place. And it should go in there, installing all the tools that we're gonna need and use for the rest of these labs series. So let's give it a minute. And finally, here we are. So the update just finished. Let's go ahead and clear the screen. And let's leave this running. Let's leave that running. Am I just gonna go ahead and just drag that into the set lab so that, again, we can organize this. All right, another one we need to install is Ubuntu Server. So let's go ahead and click back on home page and then go to create a new virtual machine one more time. Go ahead and click next, same process. We're gonna go ahead and grab the installation ISO. We'll grab the live server. The thing about a server, specifically Ubuntu Linux server, we won't have a desktop environment. So it's going to be all black screen. So just stay with me. Click next. We're going to call this Ubuntu server. All right. No, actually, let's call this Wazuh. Wazuh server. You know what? Not a Wazuh server. Let's just call this Wazuh, right? Click next. Let's go ahead and give this 200 gigabytes. It doesn't need all of that. Then click next. And let's go ahead and customize the hardware again. And then once we're here, let's go ahead and give this thing 8 gigabytes of RAM. Let's go ahead. I'm gonna push that to 16 because I have enough. And let's go ahead and give these 4 processors, right? 4 cores. I'm gonna go ahead and close this. It's looking good. The network adapter is always NAT unless you go in there and start changing this. So let's go ahead and click close, and everything looking good from what I can tell. I'm gonna click on finished. The other thing is these hardware that we're setting up, we're gonna kind of remove back, right? Remove back to normal. We're doing this because it's the installation process and we want this to run a little bit faster. So go ahead and click OK on the little pop-up there so that we can get this Ubuntu server installed. Now, here's the thing about this. You're gonna have to use your keyboard keys to get this to get this working. So your mouse is not going to work here. So I'm going to go ahead and select the first one. Make sure that first one is selected. Press enter on your keyboard. It's going to go in and start installing this Ubuntu server. So you should see some, code popping up, and that's normal. All right, nothing's broken. This is normal. So give it a minute. It shouldn't take too long, especially with that 16 gigabytes of RAM. All right, here we are. They're asking us for the language. Make sure English is selected. Press enter on your keyboard. And right here, they're saying, okay, you want to continue without updating or update to the new installer. Let's just continue without updating. So make sure the second one is selected. Press enter on your keyboard. It's telling you, okay, well, it looks like we're good. You want to press done. I'm going to press enter one more time to make sure that I'm done. Right there, it's telling me, I don't know if you can see it, but right there, it pre-selected this for me. That's what that X it's there for. So that's pretty good. I should go ahead and press enter one more time. And right now it's telling us, hey, this is your Ethernet. And then there is the IP address that we're getting from the DHCP server. That looks good. I'm gonna press enter. It's asking, hey, do you want to configure the proxy server? We do not, so don't put anything there. Press enter. And then right here on your mirror address, just press enter. And then it's like, okay, well, check for the mirror URL. I'm gonna just go ahead and just continue here. And it's asking us, hey, do you want to kind of put everything into the entire disk? I'm gonna press tab until you can select done, and then just press done. So keep the defaults and select done. And then here, select done one more time. It's gonna say, hey, you sure want to move forward? Yep. Make sure hit tab to select continue, then press enter one more time. Now, it's got asking us for the for profile setup, right? So for the your name, we're gonna call this was server. For the server's name, we're just gonna call this was right? And for the Pika username, just call this was again. For the username and the password, I'll just set it up. Something simple here. All right, it's looking good. It's looking good. All right. Let's go ahead and press tab so you can select done. Then press enter on your keyboard. And then press enter again to continue. And then right here, they're asking us if you want to install SSH. You know, you do not. But if you wanted to, you can press space to put the X behind that right there. So I'm going to press X, space again to get rid of that. And then I'm going to press tab so that I can hit done. So I'm going to press enter to hit done. It's telling us, okay, this is all without we're going to install. I'm going to press tab, make sure done is selected, and just press done or press enter, excuse me. And then now it's going in. It's basically installing the kernel, installing everything else that we need. You can see you can view the full log by pressing tab until you can select the view full log. But let's just leave it the way it is. All right, looks like we're pretty good to go now. Right now you can see that there's the reboot button, the reboot section there. So I'm gonna hit tab and make sure reboot now is selected. I'm gonna press enter, and now they should be rebooting this operating system as well. So give it a minute for everything else to reboot. It's asking us to hit enter again for this reboot to take place. So it's rebooting now, and we should be pretty good to go. All right, and just finished rebooting. Let's go ahead and press enter so that you can be able to see the login page. The username is going to be Wazuh, and the password is the password that we just finished setting it up. So I'm going to tap that in there. And the thing is, you're not going to be able to see the what's called the password. So just kind of have faith that the password is being typed. So Wazuh one more time. Let's put in the password again. And here we are, right? It's looking good. So let's go ahead and ifconfig. Let's find our IP address. Looks like ifconfig is not working. So we're going to do IPA here, IP-A. I don't know if you can see it, but it's right there. And right now, our IP address is for the ENS33, it's 10.00.13. That's very important. You need to write that down because you are going to need that. You are going to need that to access this server in a minute. You're going to need that to be able to finish the configuration of the Wazuh manager. All right. And now that we're done with that, let's go ahead and just update the server, make sure that it has the latest and the greatest. So we're going to say sudo apt update, all right? Just like what we did before. It's going to ask us for the password. And we'll type that in there. We press enter. It's telling us there's over 31 packages that can be upgraded. So we're going to say sudo apt upgrade -y again, and let this thing go in and do the upgrade. Okay. Taking a minute. This is good because we wanted this to install all the tools we need and upgrade all the tools that we need for us to be able to install the Wazuh manager on top of this. So right now, this is just a clean Ubuntu server installation. That's what we have right now. But we're going to be changing this into a Wazuh server in a minute, a Wazuh manager in a minute. Here we go. It's asking us, hey, packages that you need to install. Just go ahead and press back here. Go ahead and press tab on your keyboard, then press enter. Basically, just accept the default, right? Just accept the default. There we go. And we're good to go. So if I were to back here, if I were to IF again, I forgot to install the IF. So if I were to let me go ahead and just install the IF config. I'm so used to it. Sudo apt install net tools. Right? It's right there. It usually tells you if you want it, just do this. Then go ahead and just install that. You say, hey, do you want to unattended upgrade the service? Let's go ahead and press space and then press tab and then press OK. And now this is pretty good. So if I can do IF config one more time, you can see that now it's working and it's a little bit, I have to think it's a little bit clean. A little bit cleaner the way it displays things compared to IP, the IP as well. Anyway, so that's the IP address. That's all we need. Okay, there are a lot of ways of installing Wazuh, but I will use the easiest. Let me just put it that way. The easiest way of installing Wazuh is through their script, their install script. So what we're going to do is downloading the script, then run the script, let that script takes care of pretty much everything. But there are step-by-step instructions if you want to get a little bit advanced or trying to understand what is taking place behind the scene. What are we installing? So we're going to go ahead and just type in Kura. And Kura should be installed here in this thing here. And then we will put the options there. Then we're going to say HTTPS. We'll say location. It's going to be in packages. Here we go. Wazuh.com. That's 4.8 for the version of this, the current version. I'm going to say Wazuh install.sh. All right, basically, we're downloading this. So I'm going to press enter and it should be downloaded right there. And keep in mind, this is not a 0. This is a capital O right there. That's not a 0. It's capital O for the option as well. That might, get confusing as well. Okay, so it's right there, pretty much ready to go. You can cut it if you just you're curious, you want to know what's inside. You can cut it, but I doubt you would be able to see, much. But this is exactly what is taking place behind the scene. So I'm going to go ahead and clear the screen here. I'm going to go ahead and remove that as well. And then let's go ahead and install this, get this running. So we're going to say in sudo bash, and then we're going to go ahead and just install Wazuh. So I'm going to /Wazuh with the installation. And then we can just say this A just as an option, then hit enter. Now it's going in, is installing Wazuh for us. So give it some time, give it a minute. It's gonna go ahead and just configure everything the way we want it. By the time it's finished, it's gonna display some passwords, which we're gonna go ahead and change them as well because they're really hard to write it down. But once everything is finished, we should have a Wazuh manager up and running. So give it some time, and we should be back up and running in a minute. All right, so the installation is finished, and here is the thing. You can see the username and password right there. So the username is that, the password is whatever that is. So let's try to change that because this is what we're going to use when we try to log in into the Wazuh manager. And to do that, this is the command that we're going to run. So we're going to say curl, go ahead with these options, -S going in and saying, hey, look, I want to run curl in a silent mode. And -O is just the option that specifies the output right? The action name. There we go. So what we're gonna do here, we're gonna go ahead and say, hey, Kuro, go ahead and download this right here, this tool. This was a password tool from this location, right? And then add it to our kind of a directory there. So let's go ahead and do that right quickly. Just type in that command in, and then press enter on your keyboard. Now that's done. If I ls here, I should be able to see the new tool, the password change tool that we just downloaded right there. Okay. So after that, what we need to do, we needed to run the tool so we can be able to kind of change the password. So what we're going to do here is type in sudo bash so that we can run this command. Sudo bash was I'm gonna pick that up, was a password. I'm tabbing it. I'm pressing the tab on the keyboard to be able to finish the command. And then I'm going to say, hey, dash U for the username. I'm going to say admin. And then I will say dash P space dash P. And then I'll give the password. Now, in this case, let me just create a password. I'm going to call this a secret. If you can create your password as mine, because Wazuh tended to be really picky when it comes to these passwords. So I'm going to call this secret. Secret, I'm going to use the word 3. I can put that in there. Secret 3 password with the word 4. Pass W, I'm going to put a special character here. I'm going to do just shift 8 without star and then RD for the word password. So it's pass 4W star RD for the word password. So this right here is going to be our new password for the admin. We don't want to use the long one. We're just going to use this one instead. So I'm going to press enter here. And that's going to go ahead and tell me that it's generating like a password hash and like the password is being basically updated. So when this is done, all we're going to do now is update the manager, and then we should be good to go. We should be able to log into this Wazuh manager from Ubuntu VM. And there you go. It's done. So what we're going to do is go ahead and type in system. Let me clear the screen so it's a little bit clean here for you. So we're going to type in sudo system control, so system CTL, which is a system control. And then I'm going to say restart. I'm going to say Wazuh manager. Right, there we go. Looking good. I'm going to press enter. And it should kind of go ahead and just restart the whole manager here for us. So give it a minute and it should be done. All right, now that's done. Let's go ahead and kind of check the status. So I'm going to say sudo system CTL once again. I'm going to say status to check the status of the Wazuh manager. I'm going to say Wazuh manager right there. And right here, as you can see, Wazuh is active and is running. The Wazuh manager is running. All right, what that tells us is that we're good to go to log into this one. So I'm going to press Q on the keyboard to end this. Press Q on your keyboard. And then I'll go to the Ubuntu VM. So if your Ubuntu had kind of a sort of like a timeout, go ahead and sign back in. So click on Ubuntu. I'm going to sign back in with my password there. And let's give it a minute. And here we are. Okay, here, open up your Firefox browser. And we need to go to the 10.00.13 because that's what the Wazuh server it's configured on. So I'm gonna go here and type in 10.00.13. I'm gonna press enter. And if you do this for the first time, it's gonna bring up this little warning telling you, hey, the certificate is not trusted. You wanna do that. Go ahead and click on advanced, scroll down a little bit, and then say accept the risk and continue. All right, click on that. Then it's going to load up Wazuh for us. Right. So now that we're here, we need to sign in. So we're going to have to sign in as admin and type in the password that we changed earlier. Secret with the word 3 and then pass 4 There we go. I'm gonna go ahead and sign in. You can save this so that it doesn't ask you about the password every time you try to sign in. There we go. And that's it. Voila, we're in. We're into the Wazuh manager. Now, there's a few things that you can do here. First of all, you can change the password. You can go here, click on reset password, and then right here, you can just type in your current password and then create a new one. So in any case, let's say that you didn't, change the password when from the command, you can also do it from there. Okay. Another thing we need to do is take a look at the Wazuh. We're not going to spend too much time here because you will be doing some labs in this. But what we want to do is install the agent, right? That's what we want to do. But you can click on these three lines here and just kind of play around with this, kind of take a look at things like governance. For those people who are doing GRC, you got PCI DSS, GDPR, HIPAA, NIST there. But with endpoint security, you got things like fire integrity monitoring. You got MITRE, virus total, threat hunting, vulnerability detections and operations, and the like. So Wazuh, it's a fantastic tool and you will love it. But for now, let's add some agents, right? So click on add agent right there. Now right here, this is on a Linux distribution, specifically Debian. So we're gonna click on Debian, the one with the AMD64. Now scroll down a little bit here. They're gonna ask us, okay, what is the IP address? It's right there. It's 10.00.13. It might not be there, so you might want to need it, to tap that in there for you, and then make sure you press that. Okay, remember that IP address. And then for the agent name, we're gonna call this Ubuntu because that's what this machine is. And then for the group, keep that on default. So just make sure you select the default. And this is going to be, voila, this is going to be the command that you need to kind of type into the terminal. So I'm going to copy that. So press copy, open the terminal up. I think it's a little bit bigger for you and just try to zoom in a little bit. And then we're going to paste that in here, right? But before we do that, let's type in sudo and then put a space there and then place that in there. You right click there, you click on paste. Right now that command have been pasted in there, right? So you got wget. We're going in and we're downloading that the Wazuh agent, and then we're pointing that to the manager right there, to the Wazuh manager, and then we're putting that into a group. You will see all that once this is finished, kind of a downloading, right? So it's looking good. I'm gonna press enter. Gonna ask us for the password. I'm gonna type in the Ubuntu password. I'm gonna press enter again. It's going in, is installing the agent. It literally takes no time, right? It takes no time. In a matter in seconds, it's pretty much done. Okay, once that's done, go back to your Kali, go back to your Firefox, scroll down a little bit. There's a last step here where you have to restart the agent. So the way you do that is by putting in these commands. You can easily just do sudo system control restart or start Wazuh agent, but you can copy this, which is exactly what we're gonna do. Copy that, go back to the terminal here, and then paste that in there. So right click there and then paste. So it's gonna paste all that, then press enter on your keyboard. So it's going in, it's reloading the daemon, and then it's going in, it's enabling the agent so that it can always be on, and then it's restarting it. Right? It's restarting the Wazuh agent. So if we were to check the status of this, let me go ahead and do that. So system CTL status Wazuh manager. Oh, Wazuh agent. Manager have stuck in my brain. Agent. You should see that again. It says system CTL status Wazuh agent. You should see that it's active, it's running, and then it has been enabled. That's exactly what we want. So that's looking good. I'm going to press Q to finish this one and clear the screen and go back to my Firefox here. Close this. And now we have one active agent right here. As you can see, we have one active agent, that Ubuntu right there. So I can click on that, the agent. Actually, I can click on the Wazuh logo to make, double check, and there is the active agent there. right, in a dashboard. So I can click on that to kind of open up, and then click on this right here, the Ubuntu, and they're going to tell me the IP address, the versions, the operating system, the kind of version of the OS that's running. Scroll down a little bit here, you start seeing things like MITRE, compliance, the fire integrity monitoring things. And right now there's no events because we haven't done anything in there yet. So if we were to go here and start changing uh, passwords, for example, let's say somebody hacking into your account and they're changing the password, they're signing in and all that good stuff, all that information will be recorded here, right? So if they're changing files, the power of the file integrity monitoring, it's all gonna be here. So this is pretty good. And this is really all that is to this particular setup. So let's recap. We have set it up with the Wazuh manager, the Wazuh, and we have set it up the client, Ubuntu client. I'm gonna have to rename this. Let me go ahead and just organize these two. Let me drop that in there. There we go. Now we have the Wazuh, we have the Ubuntu. I'm gonna put their Wazuh manager and then put this Ubuntu client just so it can be a little bit clean. Anyway, so we installed the Wazuh manager. We configure it the way we want it. We installed the Ubuntu, and we installed the agent, and then this it's pretty good to go now. The agent is able to communicate with the manager, and that's exactly what we want. So keep it where it is right now, and let's go ahead and shut it down. Please remember, write it down your passwords, write it down your IP addresses, specifically the manager's IP addresses. But even if you can't, you can always find it here. Do ifconfig. That comes up. You go to the agent right here. You do ifconfig. It always comes up, right? You can always find it. If you ever go to Ubuntu and try to sign it into your Wazuh and it's not working, just go here making sure that the manager is running. So you can always do that by typing systemctl, right, status, and say Wazuh manager, right? If it comes back and telling you, hey, yes, it's active, it's running, then you're good to go. If it's not, then you restarted it, right? You restart and then you'll be able to, kind of a pretty good to go there. Okay, so this is all the setup that you need. This is all you should need to get things going with this lab as well. All right, so go ahead and shut this down. Let's go ahead and click on these minus here. I'm gonna go ahead and power these off. Go ahead and power this one off as well. And then let me send some here. Let me go ahead and rename this. So I'm going to click on Ubuntu, and then I'm going to right click on it and then rename that to Ubuntu client. All right. And then I'm going to rename that, if I can rename that to Wazuh manager. There we go. And so far, so good. Actually, let me say this. All right. Yeah. Let me keep it as it is. All right, now let's go ahead and finalize this lab setup by installing Flare. You got it. So first thing we're going to need for us to be able to install Flare VM is download and install Windows 10. So go back to your Google Chrome right here. And once you're here, go ahead and click on this Microsoft Windows 10 installer. So I'll put the link in the description, but you can easily Google downloading Windows 10 and they're going to bring you here. So once you're here, go ahead and click on download the media. And let's go ahead and save that in the downloads because I want to show you how it's done. Then once it's saved, double click on it. This is what you will use to not only create the ISO, but also if you want to burn the ISO into, let's say, a DVD or into a USB, you will do the same thing. So there's a pop-up here that says you sure want to do that. I'm going to click yes. And it's going in. It's basically telling me, hey, we're getting a few things ready for you to be able to allow me to generate an ISO file. Okay. So this is done only on Windows 10. Windows 11, you can easily download the ISO. They don't really put you through this. And the reason why we're using Windows 10 is because Flare right now is currently designed to work with Windows 10. All right, click on accept. It's going in, it's telling you here, we're getting a few things ready. All right, there you go. This is where you have to be very careful right here, right? This is the where, what do you want to do? Well, you don't want to upgrade this PC. So you got to be careful. If you click next right now, you're going to ruin everything. So click on create installation media from a USB or ISO, then click next. And once you're here, they're going to use the settings of your computer, but you can check this box and change them if you'd like. All right, I'm going to keep that checked, then click next. And then again, we're not creating like a USB flash drive, we're creating an ISO. You do that, you select that, then you click next. And then it's gonna go in and start kind of asking you if where you want to save it. For example, I went into the ISO and then I saved this as my Windows 10 ISO. You can name it whatever you want, but there is it right there. So I'm not gonna save that since I have it, but that's how you will kind of get that. So now that you have that, we're gonna go back to our workstation, VMware Workstation Pro, and then we're gonna install Windows 10. Right, so I'm gonna click on to create a new VM, click on next, and then right here where it says ISO, I'm gonna click on the browse, go ahead and bring in Windows 10. I'm gonna click on next. They're gonna say this is Windows 10. I'm okay with that. Click next. And it says 60 gigabytes. Let's go ahead and give this sucker 150. Let's give this bad boy 150 gigabytes. Click next. Let's go ahead and customize the hardware, right? We always do. So let's go ahead and customize the hardware. Memory, give this guy 16. I want this thing to finish quickly. And for the CPU, give this thing 4. And the reason is I want to make sure it not only finishes early, but we're going to go back and kind of lower these down a little bit, all right? Once we finish. Okay, so for the network adapter here, like I said earlier, we're gonna put this thing on host only, which is like the private network. But for now, since we need to install the PowerShell scripts and things like that, we're gonna kind of keep this on a NAT for now. Then we're gonna change that to the host only later. All right, once we finish installing everything that we need. So this is looking good. I'm gonna close this, then click on finish. All right, as it's booting up, press any key so you can boot from Windows. So as soon as you click on finish, start pressing the key on your keyboard so that it can boot from the DVD drive. Otherwise, it's gonna start looking for the operating system from like the network and things like that, and you don't want that. So we're booting from the DVD drive, and here we are. Click on next, click on install. Here we go. Should be really straightforward. We don't have a product key because we're gonna use a trial version of this. So just say I don't have a product key. We'll click on that, and then we need to install Windows 10 professional version. So select that and press next. Here we go, and then accept the terms, and then click next. Then this is going to be a custom installation. So click on custom and then click next. And then voila, here we are. So Windows is going to go in and do the whole installation process. So bear with me. I will come back as soon as this one is finished. There we go. And here we are. So let's go ahead and set this up. Make sure United States is selected. Again, I don't know where you're from, so pick your country. Click next. And then I am in the US, so I'm going to keep picking US and then click skip. They're just trying to get you to adjust the keyboard. If you want to do that, great, but I don't want to do that. Okay, so it's going in, it's setting up the network, it's taking care of some back-end stuff, and we should be good to go in a minute. All right, go ahead and pick set up for personal use. Click next. And this is where Microsoft is really kind of pissing a lot of people off, right? This whole trying to push all of us to their ecosystem. But anyway, go ahead and click offline account. I don't think you can even do this in Windows 10. I don't think you can do this in Windows 10. So click on limited experience, the button I just clicked on. And right here, we're going to kind of create a name for this computer. And I call this Flare. Call this Flare VM. There we go. It's looking good, right? Flare VM. Yep. Click next. Gonna create a password for this, and then click next. We're going to confirm the password again. Click next, and we're gonna ask us these security questions. So just go ahead and do what you gotta do here. All right. After entering the security questions in, go ahead and click next. And then now that here they're basically saying, oh, the browsing history, just say no now. Right. Go ahead and turn all these things off. They're really not that important. And go ahead and click accept. And right here, don't really pick anything. Just skip this. And just say no now. Let's try to set up that Cortana. And hi. There we go. So let's give it a minute for Windows to finalize this, and then we will set it up the way we want it for Flare. Meaning when I say we will set it up, I'm saying we're gonna shut down the firewall, shut down a few things, so that we can be able to install the tools that we need for reverse engineering malwares. All right, give it a minute. Be back. And here we are. All right. So close any pop-up that comes up, and let's go ahead and just check a few things. First of all, open up the CMD. The CMD is the command prompt. I'm going to type in CMD here. I'm going to press enter, and we have a flare here. So let me go ahead and type in IP config just to check the IP address. Again, this is Windows, so we type in IP config instead of IF config, and then we have this thing at 10.00.14. That's good. Let's go ahead and ping Google. Make sure we're getting internet connection, and we are getting internet connection, right? I'll go ahead and Control C, and usually Windows just stops after for pinging. And I'm gonna go ahead and close this right here. And there are a few things we need to do here, right? First of all, we need to disable the firewall. So I'm gonna right click on the Windows logo, go to settings, and right here, go to system. No, actually go to update and security. Let's first just shut down the updates. I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger. So let's make sure that Windows doesn't update anything, especially as we're installing things. So let's go ahead and click on pause updates for 7 days. All right, I'm gonna shut those down, close that, and then open up the security. Windows security. Open Windows security, then click on the virus and threat protection. Then scroll down here and then click on manage settings right there. And right here, we're going to turn off the real-time protection. We're going to turn off the cloud, turn off the automatic submission, then definitely temper protection got to be off. All right. That's looking the way we want it. Microsoft is going to start yelling at you, telling you why you turned this thing off, but never mind them for a second. And then you can also turn these things off permanently using group policy. It's actually one of those things that I highly recommend that somebody who's just getting started in cybersecurity to kind of familiarize themselves with group policy. So let's go ahead and right click on the start menu and then go to run. Now here, let's go ahead and bring up the group policy editor. So I'm going to say GP for group policy. And then I'm going to type in edit and Microsoft or MSC in this case. So GP edit MSC, I'm going to hit OK. It's going in, it's bringing me the local group policy. I'm going to make it bigger for you. All right, the local group policy. There are a few things that I can do here. All right, for example, I can disable the Windows updates. One way that I can do that is by expanding these administrative templates under the computer configuration, and then click on the Windows components. It should be right here somewhere, Windows components. And then from there, you gotta check for Windows updates. So scroll down until you can see W or Windows. And you should see Windows updates here somewhere. It should be at the bottom, very bottom. All right, there we go. So click on the Windows updates. And right here, I need to look for the configured automatic updates. So if I can look closely, I can see that I can go into C right here, and then I can see configure automatic updates there. So all I have to do, if I show you the whole thing, you can see that it's not configured. The comment is no. So I'm gonna just double click on that. And then from here, I'm gonna click on disabled, right? So we're going in and we're disabling this. So I'm gonna disable that, click on apply, hit OK. It has been disabled. And I'm gonna click, I'm gonna go ahead and just close this. Another thing that I can do here is to permanently disable the Windows real-time protection, right? And the way that I do that is similar to what we just did, like literally the same process. So what I can do to permanently disable this, I can right-click on this again, go to Run, and then open up a group policy, edit again. And then once I'm here, make it a little bit bigger. Once I'm here, I can open this back up, open the administrative templates back up, then expand the Windows components one more time. And then after that, click on Microsoft Defender. So if you scroll down here, you should see Microsoft Defender, that antivirus one. And here you will see where it says turn off Microsoft Defender antivirus. So if you check, it's the second one from the top. Turn off Microsoft Defender antivirus. I'm gonna double click on this bad boy, and then we are going to enable this. Basically turn this thing off. Click on apply, click OK. Now that has been disabled, which means we've turned off this. All right, one last thing that we can permanently turn off is the real-time protection. So if I go here and look under real-time protection, it should be here somewhere, but double click on real-time protection right there. So double click on that. It's going to bring on a few things, including the turn off real-time protection, which should be the very first one. So I'm going to double click on that one and then also turn this on, basically enable it. I'm going to click on that, then apply, then I click OK. And now this should be where we wanted it to be. What we're going to do is restart this machine. After applying these changes is to go ahead and just restart this machine. So right click on the Windows logo, go to shutdown, and then click on a restart. It's going to go ahead and just restart this window. And when that's done, we're going to go in and start installing our Flare VM. All right, after the reboot, let's go ahead and sign in. I'm going to go ahead and press enter here and then type in the password. We're in. Now go ahead and bring up Microsoft Edge. So double click on Microsoft Edge. Here we are. And it's going to ask you a few things, just like say, hey, don't really do anything here. Just continue without this stuff. There we go. Yeah, Microsoft is really getting annoying. All right, then let's go to Google. We're going to go to Google here, and then we're going to search for Flare VM because we're going to be downloading a few things there. So Flare VM GitHub. Go to their GitHub page. It should be like the very first thing that comes up. Click on that because we need to download this installer. This PowerShell script. So scroll down under the Flare VM. Again, I'll put the link in the description here for you. But as you can see, it's a github.com/flare-vm. All right, and then you're good to go. And scroll down a little bit until you can see Flare installation. First thing we need to do is open PowerShell as the administrator. Then grab this script right here. And then after that, we're going to run this objective basically to basically run this. So what we're going to do, we'll do that from the desktop location. So first open up PowerShell. So click on the Windows logo there, and then go ahead and type in PowerShell. And there is PowerShell right there. Right click on it and then run as the administrator. Right. There's a pop-up that says, you sure you want to do that? We're going to say, yep, yes. And as this thing is coming up, let's go ahead and open open a File Explorer, open your File Explorer, double click on desktop. Actually, you know what? Go to the C drive. I double click on the C drive, go to users, go to Flare VM, and then click on the desktop, and then go ahead and grab this location there. So just go ahead and click here in the white box here. It will be selected, and then right click on it, click on copy. All right, we want to get into that directory. Now you can do it manually, or you can just grab it here and just go there. So right click on it, copy it, close that, go back to your go back to your PowerShell. I'm gonna click on that, make this a little bit bigger here for us so you can be able to see it. Let's make that 24. There we go. And right here, let's go ahead and CD into this location. So type in CD space and then left click. When you left click in PowerShell, it's gonna kind of a paste stuff. Or we can do it that from here and then go to, I think, properties. No, there, and then go to default, edit, and then you paste it there, just like that, right? You can do it that way too. Anyway, I'm gonna press enter on my keyboard. Now I am in that directory. That's where I am right now. Now I can go ahead and just download the file. So I'm gonna go back here. I'm gonna copy this whole thing, this PowerShell objective. Basically, I'm going just online and just downloading this right here. This is what I'm downloading. It's just a script that's gonna go in and then install a bunch of reverse engineering tools, malware analysis tools. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm gonna go ahead and just copy that and paste that here and go back here. Make sure you see it. So I'm gonna copy it like that. I'm gonna copy it, go back here, left click here to paste that in. There we go. And all you do here, just you press enter. Now the file has been downloaded, this particular file. If we were to minimize this and go to the desktop, you should see the install there. It's there. So go back here and let's go ahead and unblock this script. So I'm gonna grab the objective, that PowerShell command, I should say. And I'm gonna paste that in there. Copy that and paste that in there. There we go. I'm gonna press enter. It has been unblocked. Last but not least, I'm gonna go ahead and allow this script to run. So I'm gonna grab that right there. That right there. Go back to PowerShell, paste that in. I'll press enter, and we're pretty much good. Last thing we need to do is just basically execute this. So dash backslash, and then we can just say install. All right, install that particular script. Right, it's forward slash. Let me see what they have here. Yep. Now backslash forward slash. I'm stuck in Linux. All right. So once you're done with that, you press enter. It's gonna go ahead and just kind of verify a few things for you. Make sure you have the latest version of PowerShell if you are running as the administrator. And then it's gonna ask you, hey, have you made a copy of this virtual machine? We're just gonna say yes. Right? So it's basically it's going in is getting a few things ready for us. There we go. So here everything is looking good. It's basically just asking us, hey, have you taken a snapshot of this VM? We're just gonna say yes. Between me and you, we didn't. So we're just gonna say yes. Press enter, and it's gonna. Oh. And then after that, it's asking us for the password here for the Flare VM. When I type in the password, press enter again, and voila. Now it's going in, it's installing Flare VM. This process is going to take a minute. All right. If you need a coffee, go ahead and grab a coffee. It's going to take a minute. There's a lot of tools to install. But you want to stay here because there could be some pop-ups. I think there will be some pop-ups where you will need to prove them, to say yes, or to just press enter to kind of keep things going. Right. With that, I will be coming back if though any of those pop-ups comes up. Otherwise, we should be all set to get this thing installing. There we go. Pop-up number one. It's right here. It's asking us if we need all these things to be installed. I'm gonna just say, yep, okay. And then it's gonna kind of move forward. All right, I just want to come back in and tell you that it's still going. It's still going. It's been about 20 minutes. Um, yeah, and it's going. So it rebooted a couple times, and I haven't really done anything else. So it's still going. It's gonna reboot a couple times, and it is rebooting. So just leave it alone. Let the VM do its thing. It's installing a bunch of stuff. So don't mess with it. Just let it do some, let it do the work. All right. After waiting for quite some time, this thing is finally finished. Finally finished. And you can see that there's this little pop-up of a notepad telling you all about it, the kind of tools that they installed and everything in between. So I'm gonna go ahead and close this. And right here, there's basically in the CMD, in the command prompt, they're telling you, hey, I press enter to exit. That's exactly what we're gonna do. And voila, now we can see the Flare logo, right? The Flare logo as well is here. That means the VM have a fully installed and everything is pretty good to go. All right, so one last thing we need to do, but before we actually do that, let's go ahead and rename this. I'm gonna go ahead and just rename that to Flare and call this Flare VM. All right. And I'm gonna go ahead and just drop that into the SecLab folder. Now let's go ahead and finalize the configuration. So let's kind of reduce the VMs as well. Let's go ahead and reduce the RAM, the CPU, so that we have everything at manageable level, so that we can potentially run everything at the same time. All right, so click back on the SecLab folder, then you will see all the VMs that we have here. So let's double click on Flare VM, and then it's going to open up here. Let's go ahead and edit this one. Oh, back to Flare. Let's go ahead and just change some things here. So click on Edit Virtual Machine Settings, and we're going to put the Flare VM on 4 GB. So I'm going to just lower that to 4 gig. And then for the processor, we're going to put that on 2 processor, right? That looks good. And go to the NAT network, and then put that on a host only private VM, private network, I should say. And that should be all set. I click OK. And we are on host only VM. We have 1 processor, and then we have 4 GB of RAM. So go ahead and do the same thing for the Wazuh manager. I'm gonna go ahead and just put this thing on a 4 VM. I'm gonna put this thing on the 4 GB of RAM and reduce the processor to 1 as well. And here we are, right? So for the Ubuntu, I'm gonna reduce that to 4 GB. All right, go back to memory. Put that on 4 gig. For the processor, let's put that on 1 as well. And we're looking good. We don't need to change the network there. And for Meta, we got to reduce this to a very, very low level machine. So let's go ahead and go ahead and click Edit Virtual Machine Settings one more time. Then reduce that to 500 meg, right? 512 megabytes for the RAM, and just 1 gigahertz is good. Everything else is good. Click OK. And finally, Kali, and then put that on 2 processor as well, right? So that we have about 3 computers, 4 computers on a 4 gig. You can even reduce, for example, you can put the Wazuh server and Ubuntu on 2 gig, and that's just gonna be fine, including Kali. You can put Kali on 2 gig and it will be just fine. So once you're done reducing this to a manageable level, you're pretty much done. They are all connected except Flare. Flare, it's connected to its own virtual network, its own private network adapter, and everything else, it's able to talk to each other. This is the ultimate home lab. You've set it up everything. From now on forward, we are going to be implementing stuff. So we might run two of these at the same time, performing a specific task, and so on and so forth. All right. Well, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're able to set up everything. If you got stuck or if anything is not working, please go ahead and join the community and asks. I will be in the community helping, and we got some other people in the community as well helping. All right, guys, keep pushing. I will see you all in the next lab.